In the cold, eerie nights of 1888, an unknown terror lurked in the dark alleyways of London's East End. His name, Jack the Ripper. As the chill of autumn descended upon the city, the people of Whitechapel found themselves living in the grip of a fear so palpable it echoed in the gaslit streets, whispered in the smoky taverns, and haunted their dreams. This wasn't the usual dread of crime-ridden slums, but a terror born from the shadows, a nameless horror that had come to be known as Jack the Ripper. The East End of London in the late 19th century was a world unto itself. Packed to the brim with the city's poorest and most vulnerable, its labyrinthine streets and alleyways hummed with life and too often with desperation. It was a place where danger lurked around every corner, where the line between survival and disaster was precariously thin. Yet even in this harsh environment, nothing could prepare the district for the reign of the Ripper. As the darkness of night fell, the Ripper would emerge from the shadows, his victims unsuspecting until it was too late. 5 women, all of them working in the oldest profession, would meet their end at the hands of this merciless killer. The brutality of their murders was shocking, even in a district no stranger to violence. Each crime scene painted a grisly picture: bodies horrifically mutilated, throats slashed, organs removed with an unsettling precision that suggested a knowledge of human anatomy. The terror wasn't just in the act, but in the aftermath. The Ripper left no trace, disappearing back into the shadows as swiftly as he had emerged. His identity remained a mystery, his motives inscrutable. The people of Whitechapel could only wait in fear, wondering when the Ripper would strike again. In a span of just a few months, 5 women fell victim to this faceless terror, their lives brutally cut short in the dead of night. The reign of the Ripper had begun, and with it, one of the most chilling chapters in the annals of crime. From August to November of 1888, Jack the Ripper carried out his gruesome work. A chilling period marked by a series of murders that shook the foundations of London's East End and indeed the world. The first of the 5 canonical murders occurred on August 31st. The life of Mary Ann Nichols was brutally ended, her body disfigured in a manner that sent shivers down the spine of the most hardened constable. This was the beginning, the introduction of a monster who was to cast a long, dark shadow over the bustling city. Days later, on September 8th, the body of Annie Chapman was discovered. Her death was as violent as Nichols's, her body mutilated with a precision that suggested the killer was not only ruthless but also possessed a certain understanding of human anatomy. The city's fear deepened. The month of September held one more horror. On the 30th, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes were killed in a single night. This event, known as the double event, exacerbated the growing sense of dread. Stride's throat was cut, like the others, but Eddowes' death was particularly grotesque. Her body was found horrifically mutilated, her face disfigured, her kidney removed. The brutality of these killings was a clear message. The Ripper was escalating. The 5th and final victim, Mary Jane Kelly, was found on November 9th. Her murder was the most gruesome yet, her body almost unrecognizable. This was a crescendo of violence, a grand finale that left the city in a state of shock and terror. Each murder caused a ripple of fear that grew into a wave of panic. The people of London were gripped by a terror that permeated every corner of the city. The streets that once buzzed with life now whispered with fear, every shadow a potential threat, every stranger a potential killer. Each murder was more gruesome than the last, leading to an atmosphere of terror in the heart of London. This was the reign of Jack the Ripper, a time when the city held its breath and the world watched in horrified fascination. While the city trembled, the authorities scrambled to catch this elusive killer. The investigation into the infamous Jack the Ripper murders was, to say the least, a task of Herculean proportions. As the body count escalated, so did the pressure on the authorities. Every new murder a stark reminder of their failure to apprehend the killer. The streets of Whitechapel became a maze of dark alleys and dead ends, a battleground for investigators hunting for a ghost. The list of suspects was long and included the likes of seamen, butchers, physicians, and even members of the royal family. Each suspect was investigated meticulously, their lives turned inside out in the desperate search for a link to the Ripper. But alas, each trail grew cold. Each suspect was crossed off the list, a testament to the elusive nature of the beast they were hunting. Adding to the complexity were the infamous letters, allegedly sent by the Ripper himself to the police. The most notorious of these was the From Hell letter, accompanied by a gruesome half of a human kidney. The audacity of the killer, taunting the authorities while hiding in plain sight, sent chills down the spine of even the most hardened investigators. Yet despite the relentless pursuit, the Ripper seemed to always remain one step ahead. Theories were constructed and deconstructed, suspects arrested and released, and the net of investigation cast far and wide. But the killer remained at large, the shadowy figure in the foggy lanes of Whitechapel, a chilling embodiment of terror. The failure to catch Jack the Ripper was not just an investigative failure, it was a societal one. It reflected the harsh realities of the time, the societal inequalities and the indifference of the privileged towards the plight of the vulnerable. The Ripper was not just a man, but a symbol of the darkness that lurked beneath the veneer of Victorian propriety. Despite their best efforts, the authorities were left grasping at shadows, the Ripper remaining one step ahead. The spectre of Jack the Ripper still haunts the annals of criminal history, an enigma that continues to baffle and fascinate us, even after more than a century. Over the years, countless theories have been proposed about the identity of Jack the Ripper. The sheer number of suspects and scenarios is staggering, a testament to the enduring enigma that is the Ripper's identity. One of the most intriguing theories is the royal conspiracy theory. This posits that the Ripper was a surgeon or physician of royal affiliation, possibly even a member of the royal family. The theory suggests that the murders were carried out to cover up a secret marriage between Prince Albert Victor and a common shopgirl, which resulted in an illegitimate child. The victims, it's claimed, were privy to this secret and were silenced forever. It's a tantalizing theory, full of intrigue and scandal, but it lacks concrete evidence. Then there's Montague John Druitt, a barrister and schoolteacher who was named a suspect by Sir Melville Macnaghten in a report written in 1894. Macnaghten described Druitt as a man who had, from private info, been suspected. However, Druitt's connection to the crimes is largely circumstantial, based on his suicide shortly after the last murder. Another long-standing suspect is Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber with a history of mental illness. In 2015, genetic testing on a shawl supposedly found at one of the murder scenes purportedly linked Kosminski to the crimes. However, the shawl's provenance and the validity of the tests have been widely disputed. There were countless others, each with their own story, their own reasons for suspicion. Each theory adds another layer to the mystery, another piece to the puzzle. But none provide a definitive answer. None can conclusively unmask the Ripper. Jack the Ripper has been the subject of speculation for over a century. Some theories seem plausible, others far-fetched, but they all share one common trait. They have failed to conclusively identify the man behind the myth. Yet despite all these theories, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains shrouded in mystery. More than a century later, the legend of Jack the Ripper continues to captivate. An enigmatic figure, shrouded in mystery and intrigue, the Ripper's legacy stretches far beyond the grimy, fog-laden streets of Victorian London. This legacy has permeated our culture, seeping into the arts and popular imagination. The Ripper's gruesome tale has been told and retold in countless novels, films and television series, each rendition seeking to unravel the macabre mystery that surrounds him. From the classic penny dreadfuls of the late 19th century to Alfred Hitchcock's cinematic thrillers to modern-day crime dramas, the Ripper's influence is undeniable. His story has become a touchstone in the genre of true crime, a chilling testament to the human fascination with the dark and the dreadful. But it isn't just in the realm of fiction that the Ripper's legacy lives on. The unsolved nature of the Ripper murders has led to an ongoing fascination with the case. Amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike have been drawn to it, their interest piqued by the tantalizing prospect of finally unmasking the infamous killer. In recent years, attempts to solve the mystery have taken on a distinctly modern twist, from forensic scientists using groundbreaking DNA analysis techniques to data analysts employing complex algorithms in a bid to pinpoint the Ripper's identity. The quest for answers continues. Each new discovery, each fresh theory fuels our collective obsession, keeping the Ripper's legacy alive. From the foggy streets of Whitechapel to the pages of countless books and screens of numerous films, the shadow of Jack the Ripper, the faceless terror, lives on. His identity, a chilling enigma, continues to haunt us, a grim reminder of a reign of terror that once gripped the heart of London.